take you straight to Diepsloot now, where my colleague Manqoba Mchunu is on the ground for us. Now, Manqoba, it's been another week of residents of Diepsloot being in the news, basically begging for assistance from government to help them get rid of these criminal elements that's wreaking havoc in their family units, in their businesses, and just generally on the streets as well. What's the mood like there this morning?
Well, I can tell you, Marcel, that there's still quite a lot of concern from residents here in Diepsloot over the high crime in this area. Of course, you recall that the residents had taken to the streets just fighting this very issue, the crime levels in this community. And this is where they had then, targeted some of, the illegal foreign-owned shops and stalls and shacks that they say were harboring criminals in this community. We understand, Marcel, that in terms of the crime, that doesn't seem to be getting any better in this community, even though there have been those protests that have been held by community members. In fact, you recall that they suspended these protests last week on Thursday to allow for that engagement with the office of the president by the leaders of this community, who are asking the president to come and address the residents of Diepsloot because of the issues that they say are unresolvable so far by the police. There have been many commitments, there have been many meetings prior to this with Police Minister Bheki, who's come to this community, who's offered some solutions, who have deployed some of the tactical response units in this community, but none of them had yielded any results as far as what the community is hoping for. But I want to bring in Loyiso here, who's one of the leaders here in Diepsloot, just to get a sense from him. They're at a church here where, as a community, they're going to ask for divine intervention. They're going to ask and pray that, the issue of crime is dealt with in this community. Loyiso, thank you for your time. Let's just start here. The weekend that was, previously when I spoke to you, you said that not a weekend goes by here without any criminal activities taking place. How is the crime situation now, following the protests that you've had, following the engagement that you had with the president's office? Is it getting any better?
I can confirm to you, so far, nothing is getting better. As we speak with you now, yesterday, there are two people who are fighting for their lives in hospital. They were shot at Extension 12 through robbery. Hence, our call is to say we need the president to come here. This is a very urgent and serious matter that includes the ministries that we have mentioned to come and resolve these issues. The area where they were shot at yesterday, it's an area where you don't see police moving around. Hence, we have said we want the police to get in these areas where the high spot of crime is.
There was an Operation Ukayeng Mulao yesterday. Did that help at all? Is the police visibility there? This is one of the things, of course, that you asked for when you got to the president's office, that prior to you waiting for this commitment, when you're going to meet with the president and when you're going to meet with the ministers, you want to see heightened police visibility in this community. Is that the case? The operation that happened yesterday, it shows that indeed it did not assist in any way. Hence, this incident that I've just mentioned with you. When we say we want the president to come here, we want a permanent solution. We don't want a solution that will happen now and tomorrow we go back to square one. So when we mention these ministries that we're talking about, once they can come, all of them, and resolve their own shortfalls in these in their departments, we know what exactly we will have a permanent solution in Diepsloot. Okay, so you're waiting for the response from the president. What would it mean for the president to come here, and what if you can't get that commitment that he comes here?
It will mean we'll be very disappointed as community and community leaders if indeed in this urgent matter of crime, of people that are dying each and every weekend, the president will decide not to come. But we remain hopeful. Through the engagement that we are having with the presidency, we remain hopeful because we did not get a negative response when we were there. We did get a positive response. We remain hopeful that indeed the president will come to Diepsloot and address these issues together with these ministries that we have mentioned.
So as it stands, in terms of visibility, you're saying that you're not seeing the visibility here on the ground?
It's the same thing that we have mentioned previously, Manqoba, that this visibility that they're talking about, these police are patrolling on the main road. We want them inside these squatter camp areas, extension 1, 11, 12, 13, number 11. That is where these killings, that is where these robbery are happening. So we want them there. We don't want them to intimidate up and down on the main road. We want them to go in and fight crime and criminals inside these areas. They can't be going around the street and intimidate and make a show off that they're here. We want them to come here. When they're here, they must fight crime.
Okay, and then do we know anything about the people that are shot here? Is there any information about what are the circumstances surrounding that?
One of them was shot on the upper body. It's a woman. She's fighting for her life in hospital. The other one is a male. He was shot on the upper body. He's still fighting his life in hospital. We do have an information. One of our members is the one that accompanied that gentleman to the hospital. Hence, we've got this information that we have.
Okay, I'm just going to ask my colleague Nokomalachi just to come with us. Of course, just to show you what's happening here at the church. This is a community meeting. Really, all the community wants is an end to crime. They've asked the leaders, all the leaders that have been leading this particular march, to come and pray here so that this community is able to fight the crime, the rampant crime in this area. And I just want to ask you about this prayer that's being held here, Loyiso, and the importance of it to Diepsloot residents.
It is important, Manqoba. We must find all angles to fight this criminal activity that is happening in our community. We can't only rely on protesting, burning tires on the street. We must also ask the intervention of the Almighty God. Hence, we are here today as leaders to ask the divine intervention in these crises that we're facing of crime and criminal. It is not normal. We can't make it normal that each and every weekend, each and every day, people are dying in our society. It can't be normal. Hence, we're here to say God must intervene. Pastors must pray for our community. Those who believe in divine intervention must intervene indeed. Hence, we're here.
I want to bring you in also, Putlifa. Do you think that there is hope that the crime issue will be resolved in this community?
We do have that hope, my brother. That is why we are even here today, so that we invite, even God, the intervention, so that ultimately we win this battle together.
And of course, part of your delegation that went to the union buildings included a pastor from this very church, the Methodist Church, Pastor, I forgot his surname, but he was also part of that delegation, and asking for the presidency. In fact, he had a lot of words to say as far as you taking your issues to the presidency were concerned. And, just looking at what has happened here in this community, do you say that it's crucial for the president's office to come here to the area to resolve these issues?
It is very much important, as you have already, hear that after we visited his office over the weekend, other people were get shot too. So this is out of hand. That is why we are saying, please, President, come to Diepsloot, and so that we can be of help to our situation.
Thank you, Putlinda. Let me not hold you. Putlifa Nkala, who's one of the community leaders, speaking to us also just ahead of that sermon that is going to take place. Of course, we understand that the situation is still quite volatile when it comes to crime in this community. More incidents are reported this weekend. 2 people that were shot. It's a man and a woman. We're still going to get more details about who exactly those victims are and what, their families have to say as far as this is concerned. But it tells you just how serious the crime situation is here in this community. Not a weekend goes by that people are not robbed and shot in this community. And at a time when you think that this issue has been raised so much, there were violent protests, the township was literally on fire, you think that there will be some, resolution of some sort, or an end to some of the criminal activities here. But it doesn't seem that is the case, as you've just heard from some of the leaders, that there has been more criminal activities that have happened in this community.